Okay, I'm here at the Davis County Justice Center. And again, look at this car. This is a police car. It's parked in the police area. Look at the tinted windows, and there's the license plate on it. So they're privileged, you know. You talk about sovereign citizens, that's it. And then they put out here a sign, Davis County personnel only. There's no law on that says that you have to honor that. So, I mean, they can't walk their ass up to the door like everybody else. So I'm going in, and I'm using this to protect me and find out if my property was safeguarded.
Morning, sir.
If you can hear me, I'd like to see Aaron, please. Oh, you. Is Aaron here?
Erin?
Yeah.
Erin, do you have a last name? Do you know what her title is or what her last name is?
She was standing right next to you last time I came in.
Unfortunately, Friday was her last day. Friday of last week was her last day.
And you lost a good employee.
I did. She was wonderful.
I left a folder here that was trying to think the color. It was purple. It had my address in it so that if someone would have found it in the lobby, they could have called me to get it.
Recall that. Unfortunately, was it left here up here?
It was left right here. I have in my video. It was left. It was a magenta color folder.
It's not in my lost and found, and I don't recall there being a folder.
Yeah, there was one there. I've got it in my video.
Okay. Well, you were.
My phone number was in it. My address
I
was.
apologize. I wasn't the last person.
Okay.
You were clear.
Well, I'm glad we're having a better interaction than we did last time.
I don't. I came over the last time and asked if there was anything I could do to help.
Yeah, well,
this quite quickly. So.
Yeah.
So what can I do now?
Nothing. I just wanted my folder back.
Okay.
It was right here.
Do you mind if I take your name and your number? If
Sure,
if I,
you can take my name and
If
number.
I locate it, I'll be happy to contact you.
Okay. And I hope you guys found out this was perfectly okay for us to film our interactions with public servants.
Yeah, but it's also perfectly acceptable for a public servant to say
You feel uncomfortable. I understand
I
that.
would,
Yeah.
There's not a reason that someone could say that they wouldn't want. I mean,
I understand
my
that.
employee covered her face. She had
Yeah.
the right
You know
to
that's
stand
against
up.
the law too, right?
That's not
That's
against the
yes, it is. I know the laws. And that's censorship. I don't think you do. But that's censorship of the press.
There's a folder. Let's go back to the folder. What does the folder look like? You said it was magenta.
It's a magenta color. You could call it a purple-like color.
like a
Magenta's like
file
purple.
I understand what magenta is. Like a file folder, or is it?
It was a file folder, right? 8.5 by 11, and it had documents I wanted to give the sheriff department. And it also had my grammar request that I want your district attorney, Troy Rawlins, to answer.
Okay. If I really don't think that was here.
Yeah, it was. I've got it in the video.
I'm not suggesting you didn't have it with you. I'm suggesting I don't think.
Well, you're not going to know unless someone picked it up if you were involved in picking it up and securing it, you know. So if you could call Erin and ask her, I'm sure that, I mean, she is a great person. I mean,
She is a wonderful.
the gal that's over here, and then Sergeant Kagan. Yeah. I don't know if he's a sergeant or not, but he's generally at the county building, sits there.
Deputy Payne
No,
with a beard.
Cragen. It was Cragen.
Oh, Reagan.
Yeah.
Kagan. Okay.
And your Lieutenant Butcher says that we were giving you guys grief. We didn't give you any grief. And he didn't even witness anything, and he comes out here with this big mouth.
I'm so sorry.
He's a very rude person.
I'm terribly sorry to hear that, sir.
Yeah.
Well, let me get your name if I may.
My name is Walt English.
Walt?
You know, and I don't dislike law enforcement.
And
I dislike people that murder other people.
I can understand your take
Yeah.
on that. Tell me your phone number. And if
It's
I-
909,
Okay.
because everybody else is going to hear it. So let me write it down for you.
Okay. Okay. So
Okay.
if we locate that folder,
You're a lot better than the last time I came in. And you are on YouTube.
well,
You're my thumbnail on coming in here.
okay. Well,
And the other lady that was standing here, we can do a federal lawsuit on. I've done it. I've got right now, I have Taylorsville Police Department in a federal lawsuit. I type them up, I do all the motions.
well, Mr. English, there's no intention of having discontent in any way, shape, or form.
That's why we carry this in, because of the reaction you got from you guys.
As you can imagine, when one opens their eyes and they look up and there are two individuals carrying cameras up in your face, it's a little,
It's not up in your face. You have a glass right here. It's not up in your face.
okay. That's a perception.
That's a negative, argumentative perception.
Okay. I can tell you that I've been in worse circumstances. For
So have I.
and-
20 years in the Army, I can tell you some
Right.
really bad
Well, and I was
circumstances.
going to say, from your hat, I can assume that you had some unpleasant circumstances
Yeah.
as well. I've stood in
This is what I used to do.
this
I'm a
same
good
situation
citizen.
without the
Look at
glass.
this. I'm a good citizen. Do you see those?
I see that, and I
Okay.
appreciate your service. I'm just suggesting that, I've had situations like this without the glass between us, where I've had. certain-
I'm not a bad
more than
person.
more than a camera in my face.
I'm not a bad person. I can do verbal judo with anybody.
It was a bit of an aggressive circumstance, and I came in hoping to diffuse it, and I was met with a bit of an aggressive tone. I'll be honest. That was my perception.
Well, your perceptions are correct, because my perceptions were the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that.
Everybody has a right to feel the way they do.
Absolutely.
We just have to justify it to the people we talk to.
Absolutely. And I appreciate.
My son's a lieutenant in the police department.
Well, and
I was in law enforcement for 3 years in the military.
right, and I again, I sincerely appreciate your service. I don't want to have negative interactions with you or anyone else in the public, and I just want to make sure that we're serving what your needs are. And in this case, right now, you've asked for me to try and locate this file that somehow has been misplaced, or I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
recall seeing.
I guess it got lifted
I'll-
at the sheriff department.
I'll look for it, sir.
Yeah.
I will keep
Should have been
you posted on
secured
it.
sitting right there. I can't think of anybody taking anything.
If I had seen it, remember when you left.
I believe what you're going to say. If you had seen it, you would have secured it for me.
Yes,
I didn't get a phone call. I came in. I'm on my way to our attorneys right now.
From my
And
recollection,
yeah.
the lieutenant asked us to close the windows here.
Yeah.
At that time, and so we have no sight.
You
of
know,
that area
and-
after
yeah.
your departure.
The other thing is he violated company your policy, because he doesn't have a right to close the windows. He had no legal right to close these windows to refuse us service. Because if you look at the video, he uses the term grief, and then he tries to say, "I give you permission to record. It's okay, you record." He doesn't give me permission. The Constitution of the United States, which I fought for 20 years, and 40% disabled, that gave me the right, not his mouth. And
I understand your perspective there. I wasn't party to the conversation. I didn't hear what you said.
yeah, he's a very rude person. I asked him if he was related to Justin Butcher, which he could have said yes or no, but evidently he's embarrassed that Justin Butcher was the one. If you watch my videos, they murdered Chase Allen. They murdered him. I proved that they tampered with evidence and everything else, and yet they're Chief of Police, Eric Johnson, let these guys go back to work. He said they didn't break policy. This is going on too much. This is going on too much in Utah. And I'm going to go see the Attorney General today, too, at the Capitol.
And I, as you can imagine, I simply work in the office. I'm not party to any of the details of that.
And I want to let you know one other thing to see if this is corrected. You have a car of your lieutenant that drives out here. She followed my friend to my house in her car. She has a black, I don't know what it is, Camaro or whatever, and the window tint on that car is illegal. She has an Interceptor. Yeah, it's parked right out here. It's black. And yet I showed that to my viewers to show what hypocrites police departments are, because they break the law, but they write us tickets for the same thing.
I'm not aware of any.
I'm letting you know. I'm just letting you know. It's just a beef of mine.
Yeah,
It's just
and I
like when I see a
understand.
flag with a thin blue line, that's desecration of the American flag.
Okay. Yes.
Anyway,
Oh, yeah.
I appreciate your attitude today,
Certainly.
and you are a nice lady, and I understand your concerns. So does everybody else. You presented them in a very logical and non-hostile manner. You're a good person, so everybody who's watching this, call up and let her know that she did a great job from the last time. And you are on my thumbnail on one of my videos.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and hopefully it's not.
And I use this for my protection. This doesn't lie.
I understand.
Yeah. I was a police officer. I know police officers lie and falsify reports and everything else.
Well, and I unfortunately, I have not ever been a police officer, and I'm not privy
Yeah,
to that.
yeah.
But I can understand.
You're a good person. I appreciate you. We're really thinking about doing a federal lawsuit against her. You think this is trivial stuff? It's not to us. We really are contemplating it. That's why we're going to the attorney. One of the reasons. She cannot hold up anything against this camera, because the First Amendment gives us the right to film in public, and people go, we're journalists, and they go, where's your press credentials? That's the next thing. There's no such thing as press credentials. I can make up one and put it on my body, and it either can be accepted or rejected. It's just like Salt Lake City in their policy. I mean, that's something that we need to go after too. Say that they'll choose who can come into the police conference. They can't do that. If you let one in, you have to let all press in, period. And they're violating the Constitution. And I know the law. I was in law enforcement, and I know constitutional law because I've had to learn it. And I'm not trying to be a smartass, but most people don't know this. Most people that look at...
And as you can imagine, then, if you take that into consideration, if someone is unfamiliar with the law and they
get upset. We try to explain it, but they don't.
If they do something such as cover their face,
Yeah.
and if what you're saying is true, that it is against the law for them
Yeah.
to do that, do you think that if she believes it to be legal for her to do that, then that's prosecutable?
If I make,
Worthy of-
if I violate a moving violation, I still violated that violation,
I
right?
understand.
Even not knowing the law, I still violated it.
this
So in your context, what you're talking about,
Right.
even though she doesn't know the law and she blocked the camera, she's still guilty of doing it. And she can tell us, hey, I feel uncomfortable. We tell people, they go, I don't want to be filmed. We'll go, okay, we'll take that out of the film.
Okay, but the question again, it goes back to, is it worthy of prosecution? Is it worthy of...
It's very worthy.
Because
From your viewpoint, it's not worthy of doing it. From ours, it is, because this lady never complied. And she never gave me her name. Public servants are supposed to give us their
what was the
names.
initial that was my... I came over because it sounded like things were elevating. And so I came over...
I didn't elevate it. We warned her, you cannot put your paper, you cannot block the camera from filming you.
And it came across to me from the other side.
I could understand that.
Like there was a
I could
lot of-
understand that. I agree.
I came over to say, what can I do?
But
What is it we're hoping
at that point, I didn't need someone else coming over here giving me grief.
Right, I understand. And that wasn't my intention at all, by the way. But I didn't know what it was that she wasn't complying with. My understanding was that you were hoping to speak with a deputy. Or
No, she was complying with the fact that under the First Amendment, we have the legal right to come in and film are public servants in the execution of their duties, and we can go into a public place, and there's been surveys on it. 99% of the time, the public servants are the ones that create the disturbance. And just like him, he never came out and said, he just said, we're causing you grief. He wasn't here. I didn't see him talk to anybody. I'm sure she went back and you guys got the police. And he was rude. He was improper. And you know, under the color of law was the next thing he was going to do is try to arrest us for being here. He sent the Farmington Police Department. Those guys know who we are. And that's why they ran out the door and didn't do what they were called here to do. The video's there posted. I had Chin, one of the guys that murdered Chase Allen. And I'm not going to be nice. I can use swear words. It's protected by, it's Cohen, California, 1974, that you can use any foul language you want to in public. They can't arrest you for it. It's a First Amendment right. So a lot of people don't know this, and so they go wingnut, and they try to stick their nose in what we're doing, and it's none of their business. That's the problem.
Well, and I understand, again, I understand your perspective.
I was raised by a mom, okay? I respect women.
I appreciate that.
And when women talk, they are full of knowledge, because I was raised by another lady who was my stepmother, because my mother died when I was 5. I have all great respect for ladies. And when you talk, all your points are valid. But when you learn the law, then you understand why we can do this and why we're doing it.
Okay.
And that's all we're trying to do. We're trying to educate people.
Right, I understand.
There's a disconnect between, hey, you got to admit, there's police officers that their ego thinks that because they have a badge and a gun, they can do whatever they want. And there's thousands, tens of thousands of videos out there on YouTube that prove that.
Right, well, there are people all over.
Yeah, and it's proved right here in Farmington.
Of occupations, there are people all over the place with,
Yeah.
with attitudes of that nature. Yes,
Yeah.
certainly.
And like I want to underline, I'm not against police, although if I get the wrong guy and I know that he's guilty of something, I'm not going to speak nice language to him.
Okay.
I'm not going to do it.
And as you
I'm going to, because when you murder somebody, that's murder. And in my video, I prove in a series of videos, they planted a gun. They pushed the guy back in the car. He was complying with everything. The news media, the news media is going to get a huge lawsuit from Chase Allen's mother. And you're probably going to get sued, the city of Farmington, for $100 million.
Well, we're not the city of Farmington.
I know.
Yeah.
But I didn't appreciate Butcher, and I'm going to say it, the chicken shit person that he is, that he calls the sheriff. I mean, the Farmington Police Department to come in here and try to,
He didn't call me.
I don't care who it was. I assumed it was him. So if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'll admit it. But whoever did it, that's not nice. That just shows the hostility that everybody had towards us trying to assert our First Amendment rights. Look, I'm going to tell you something, and most people don't know this. I had 11 grandfathers that fought in the Revolutionary War, 8 in the War of 1812, 2 in the Civil War, 1 in World War I, and my father-in-law was in Pearl Harbor. My dad was in Anzio. Look up that battle. He lost half his face. And I was in the military for 20 years. I'm not going to stand here and let anybody push me around, period.
Well, and obviously, you and your family have earned the right to.
I've earned the right to every place that I step on, I've earned the right to stand there.
I can understand that. I appreciate
And this is it can be very emotional with me.
Well, and I can understand that as well.
And in the future, look for a movie called Angels on the Battlefield. I'm writing the script right now about my dad's life. Yeah.
Angels on the. Do you mind if I write that?
Sure. It'll probably take about 3 years before it's ever, put to film. But I had a friend of mine. She's an actress. She lives here in Utah now. And now she said, you need to write a movie. This is better than Hacksaw Ridge. Are you LDS, if you don't mind me asking you?
No,
Okay.
I imagine my lack of sleeves would have told you that. I'm not.
No, I don't know. But I am LDS. And I believe in angels because my wife, 2 years after she passed away, she came to my bedside. That's a wonderful thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
We were married for 49 years. And I'm too damn old to have anybody push me around. And I'm going to speak my mind. I always have.
And I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I
What was your first name, if I can have it?
My name is Susan.
Susan. So everybody listen to this. This is a nice lady. I'm sorry under the pretense she's probably the manager of everything here. Are you? Okay. So that's why she stepped up. She wanted to defend her people. She heard the exchange going on, and she probably didn't want it to continue. But I can understand how she felt, and I didn't want to talk to her. And she did leave. She didn't give me any grief. She left. And but this is the place where Lieutenant Butcher is. I'm sure he's related to Justin Butcher, no doubt in my mind whatsoever. And I just want to say you're doing a good job, and I'm sorry you lost Erin. Gosh, she was a great gal.
She was a sweetheart.
She was. I liked her because she had red hair. My wife had red hair, and all my 3 kids do. So
Yeah, she's got great red hair.
yeah, she's a great gal. I mean, she could teach lessons, behavioral lessons for public servants, how to deal with people, because she was totally calm. She kept repeating, "You can have a seat, sir." I didn't want to take a seat.
Right. No, she was great.
Yeah,
I was
you
impressed.
you lost a great employee.
I
You really did. And we as
That time
I live in this
nobody
county.
was gonna be leaving.
I live in this county.
Yeah.
And so I have a invested interest in what goes on in this county. So, yeah. Anyway, I appreciate you. I'm going to go. I've got to go to my attorney's meeting in a half hour or an hour.
If I locate that file folder, I will definitely give you a call.
Yeah.
Okay?
And so if they see this, that isn't it over there on the side of that. Yeah, is that it? Oh, it's a binder? Okay. It's just the same color. That's the color of what it was. Anyway, what was your first name again? Susan. Well, it was a pleasure meeting you now under these circumstances. And I'm not a bad guy.
Okay.
I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say what I was going to say.
I believe that you're a good guy. I believe that you've done a good thing for this country, and I appreciate your
Well, thank you. I
service.
appreciate that you
And I
feel
hope
that way.
We can all come to a pleasant resolution.
None of this is pleasant for me. I don't like doing this. I don't like doing it at all. And because of my background, I fear no man at all. There's only one person I fear, and his son. Those are the only two. The rest of them are inconsequential to what I do in my life. Thank you, Susan. Have a good day.
You too. Good luck.
So there you have it. That was Susan. A better interaction that we had last time. I will post this because I want to, for some of you, the word's appropriate. She may not like it, but redeem her. She was just concerned for her people that worked there. And so because of that, I think it was a good interaction. I didn't get what I wanted, and you would think if something was left inside a police department that no one would steal it. But again, here's that car with the illegal tint. Look at that tint. That's totally wrong. And that belongs to the lady lieutenant that was in that other video. Anyway, I'm on my way to talk to some attorneys in Salt Lake City with Utah Cop Watch. And we'll talk to you later. Thanks for watching. And if you can, hit the like button and tell your friends.